Hi, I am ThatPaulGuy, and it's Thursday. It's January 30th, 2020, year 2020. I can't believe the first month has already gotten away from us. This is my chance to share with you guys a little bit of space, a little bit of tech, some gaming, and every once in a while, those little strange stories that pop up and make you go, what? So, remind you about last week. There was nothing over the weekend. Sorry about that. I am seriously having a lot of fun with the brown recluse bite. Sorry about that. Not going to drag everybody into it. It's just causing some issues, and I did not get a video made this weekend, and I apologize. Eventually, I'll get back to doing 2 videos a week, but well, we'll take it as it comes. So, for right now, we got Thursday, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to start you off with space news. And the Government Accountability Office is now a little bit upset with the James Webb Telescope. This is supposed to be a huge infrared telescope that's supposed to let us see farther and better and more of a spectrum than the naked eye or anything that's photogenic can. It's going to be the eventual replacement, I guess you could say, for the Hubble telescope. It was supposed to originally be launched between 2007 and 2011 and supposed to cost between about $1.5 billion and $3 billion. It's now going on a decade overrun and about $10 billion in the rears. So it's now being pushed off once again. That was supposed to have a March 2021 date. And now, according to the Government Accountability Office, this might be pushed back to as late as July of 2021. And nobody's happy about it. So we're talking about 3 or 4 times overrun in price and a decade too late. So the best we can hope for is for this to really turn into something that's spectacular and gives us more than we ever could have wanted as far as bringing back, I would say pictures, but they're infrared pictures, heat signatures, if you will, of young star systems or even further back or whatever. Hopefully something comes of that, but for right now there's some really it's a real sore subject as far as the government's concerned and as far as budgets and stuff like that. SpaceX, though, not to be outdone, they just keep on going and going and going, almost like that rabbit thing you see. They, again, had another successful Starlink mission. It launched yesterday morning, I believe it was in the morning, and it took up another 60 satellites for the Starlink system, which will eventually become Elon Musk's broadband internet project that he hopes to service the entire world with. But for the beginning, it's going to cover probably about most of North America and Canada, and then we'll go from there. To do that, to cover North America and Canada, you need about 400 satellites in orbit. Right now, this is the 3rd trip. There's 4th trip, I'm sorry. There's about 240 in orbit right now. So to do basic coverage and decent coverage of a more grand scale, you need at least 800 or so. But by the end of this coming year, he's expecting to be able to flip the switch on broadband in North America by getting 400 satellites up. So the Falcon 9 has perfected the landing. It landed out again in the barge in the Atlantic, and now they have gotten to the point where they're trying to catch the fairings. The fairing is a section that covers the satellites up in the top when the rocket blasts off, and then it separates and lets the satellites eject. Now they're trying to catch the fairings. They were successful catching one half of it. They're trying to work on now trying to catch both halves so they can repurpose those and save even more money. The RX 5600 XT launched a couple weeks ago or a week and a half ago or something like that, and it's got some of the partnership board partners, I guess you could say, a little bit upset. What happened is this card launched, and as it was launching, NVIDIA decided to drop the price on their Founders Edition for the RTX 2060. Now, the 2060 was not supposed to be competition for this card. This card was supposed to go to competition with the RTX 1660 and the 1660 Ti or what have you when it comes out or whatever the deal is. That was supposed to be that price point and that competition. But NVIDIA dropped the price of their Founders 2060, and EVGA came out with a 2060 as well, a stripped down version, and so it kind of forced AMD's hand. AMD did a little bit of magic, rewrote part of the BIOS, and upped the specs on this card. The problem was the board partners like MSI, EVGA, and some of the others had already built these cards. Now, so they don't have the refreshed BIOS, and the cards were built to a certain spec. So that means the parts, capacitors, and stuff like that on these boards only met those specs. So a person is expecting to be able to do the upgrade on their own might not be able to get the card to what AMD's new promised specs are, making the company that sold the board look bad. This couldn't really be helped. AMD had to do something to make the RX 5600 XT more competitive with the 2060 because the 2060 dropped its price, and so that's what they did. So good for them, but it kind of caught everybody a little bit unawares, and some of the board partners are a little upset because it is kind of making them look bad. We'll see how this goes a little bit. Obviously, the cards that do get released later, they're being manufactured and shipped out now, will meet that spec, and we know that the parts used on those boards will meet, but we're not sure about those first batches, and those early adopters that wanted that high-end 1080p gaming card might not quite get exactly what they wanted, but I mean, you can't, for a little under 300 bucks, that's still a really, really good deal. And something not quite in tech, this Sunday is the NFL championship game. Now, because of licensing rights and stuff like that, you can't call it that thing that starts with an S. To be on the safe side, I don't know if I can or not. This is not a profitable channel. This isn't a finance. This channel isn't monetized at all, so I don't know if I'm allowed to say it or not. But I do know that in most circles, you're not allowed to call it that S thing. But it is still the NFL championship. However, Superbowl Commercials is a different category. So I'm pretty sure I can say Superbowl Commercials, and that's where we're going now. I'm going to leave a link down below because I found a site that has some of those Super Bowl commercials. As it turns out, CNET has a bunch of these listed already on their site, and I'll provide a link to it too. The usual suspects like Pepsi and Budweiser and all that stuff. A couple of pretty decent ones. I've scanned through a couple of them. There's, Apple and stuff like that. I think Google has one. But there is one very, very interesting one that I thought was interesting that is a Walmart commercial that happens to have Bill S. Preston Esquire in it. And if you don't know who that is, then you really need to pay attention to some of my other posts. But anyway, he is one of the characters in Bill and Ted. So you just got to watch it. I thought it was pretty cool. The whole commercial itself is pretty good. But I'm going to, like I said, leave a link. There's a lot of pretty interesting commercials. And I don't know if this is all the commercials that are being run during the NFL championship, but I do know that this is a good number of them, and they are pretty funny. Also pay attention to the Budweiser commercial that's supposed to be run in Canada, because that one's a pretty good one as well. In gaming news, I told you guys a couple months ago that if there was something interesting as far as gaming for either Microsoft Xbox Live Gold or PlayStation Plus, that I would let you guys know when I found out. Well, I found out. PS Plus this month, or this coming month, well, actually this month, has the Nathan Drake collection, basically the Uncharted collection, which is pretty cool in itself. But for February, you might remember that a couple weeks ago, I mentioned something about BioShock being developed, the fourth BioShock game being developed by Cloud Chamber and 2K Games. Now, this isn't going to come out for a couple years, but the BioShock Collection is going to be available in February for PlayStation Plus members. Absolutely free. It is the direct, it is all three games put together, BioShock, BioShock 2, and BioShock Infinite. You'll be able to play in Columbia. You'll be able to play underwater. It is what it is. So if you have not played it before and you've got PlayStation Plus, get it, download it, enjoy it. It was really, really fun to play. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I played all three of them and got stuck at the end of both the first and the third episode, so I have to still go back and play them. But I did, like I said, I told you guys that I would let you know when I found out something interesting, and that's what I found out, so I'm sharing that tidbit of information with you. And a bit of interesting news, still in gaming, there is now a mod out for the redone or remake of Resident Evil 2 that lets you play as one of two characters from the Witcher series. Now, you can either play as Princess Ciri or you can play as Geralt, either one. Now, you can't use his silver sword or steel sword, but still, you can play the character. And it does seem to be a direct port over graphically and all that stuff of both of these characters. So I just thought that was interesting and something, a little tidbit to pass along that doesn't normally happen. But I'll leave the link down below as well, so if you're interested in something like that. But it's a PC, it's a PC mod, and you can play Resident Evil 2 as one of the two characters, or the two main characters from the Witcher series. So that in itself is pretty cool, and if you're interested, like I said, check it out down below there. And finally, and you're kidding, right? The Yamaha company, specifically the Yamaha company that manufactures musical instruments. Yamaha is into a lot of stuff, motorcycles, cars, stuff like that. The Yamaha music company has issued a request that people not hide in their music cases. Now, this is actually kind of comes on the heels of the fact that the Nissan CEO, Carlos Ghosn, actually allegedly escaped Japan to go to Lebanon in a Yamaha speaker case that was too big to go through airport security. So it was rolled straight out onto the plane. Yamaha wants to remind people that, like refrigerators, any other large rectangular object, it is not safe to hide in things like this, and please don't do it. Their original tweet that they sent out had like 50,000 shares or something like that, so a lot of people are concerned, but I'm not sure who would actually try to do this. But then again, I'm not a disgraced CEO of a major manufacturer that got caught doing illegal things with the money I was making, or investing Nissan's funds into something else. So, but the strange but true thing is that the Yamaha has actually had to come out and ask people, don't hide in the music cases, okay? So stick to refrigerators. On second thought, don't stick to a refrigerator. Don't do that either. That's dangerous. Do not do that. Anybody watching, do not hide in a refrigerator. I'm not responsible for you hiding in a large rectangular object that seals itself behind you. You cannot get out, okay? But that's it. That's all I got for this week. So I just want to appreciate everybody's patience and sticking with me. As always, folks, you're welcome to share, subscribe. If you like the video, hit that thumbs up. The thumbs up really is the big thing right now, and that really helps the YouTube algorithm, and I'd appreciate that. If you have to, hit a thumbs down. Leave me any kind of comment you want. And as always, folks, I will try to come back later this weekend. I will definitely be back by next Thursday for another episode of this. And in the meantime, folks, take it easy, and I will see you later.